you guys won the vice presidency, when your family was thrust into this, initially, what did you think this was going to mean for you and your family?
Well, it happened to us at a good time in our life because our children are grown. They have their own lives, and I don't think it affects them as much as it would have if they were like 13, 14, and 15. So for us, being empty nesters, it was great. I think for me, Vaughn, honestly, it's an opportunity to make the most of these 4 years and make a difference wherever I can as second lady.
Now, I know when you get put into a situation like that, you're going to move to Washington. You have the opportunity as second lady to do something impactful. What ultimately went into your decision about how you were going to use your position as second lady of the United States in order to make a change and make a difference?
You know, I had a great talk with Melania right after the election, and I said, I'm thinking about doing art therapy for my initiative, and she thought it was a great idea. I chose art therapy as one of my main initiatives because a lot of people don't understand it. They think it's arts and crafts or therapeutic art, or it feels great to get the paints out. But it's more of a mental health profession, and I wanted to elevate that profession and make people more aware.
Now, what in your background led you to that point?
Well, you know, I'd never heard of what art therapy was, and in 2006, I was asked to come observe art therapy in Washington, D.C. It's a program called Tracy's Kids. I'm now on their board, and it's for children with cancer. And I saw children who were saying, when do I get to go back for my next treatment? So I thought there's something to this program. And then I started getting involved a little bit more, brought art therapy to Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. There I got involved also working with some vets and seeing how art therapy can be used to treat PTSD, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Now, I've been on many stops domestically, but also internationally with you. How is that effort, that initiative translated overseas and in the United States?
It's growing everywhere. We just had an amazing experience in Tokyo. I've been to Tokyo about 5 times, and about 3 of them I've talked with art therapists. The American Embassy in Tokyo was asked to supply a grant for an art therapy program to be done at the Tsukuba University in Tokyo. And a woman named Cheryl Okubo applied for the grant, and since the embassy had heard so much about art therapy from our efforts, they granted this. This is the first time in the whole country of Japan where art therapists can go get trained in their own country and not have to go to the United States or UK.
Now,
pretty exciting.
Now, we were in Alaska with you at Air Force Base, and you mentioned military spouses.
Right.
And I believe you even brought something along with you to share with those. What is it that has led you to military spouses and intentionally naming them and seeking them out?
Well, actually, that started in Japan as well. So we decided anytime we travel along with the Vice President, it would be a great idea to visit military families, because we're usually visiting a base, we usually land on a base. And I started to hear some of the stories, some of their unique challenges, and some of their amazing experiences as well. And I started to realize that there were some issues that maybe we could help them with. When Michelle Obama was First Lady and Jill Biden was Second Lady, I was First Lady of Indiana. And they had an initiative where they wanted to help get licensing covered in all 50 states. What happens to military spouses is when you move from state to state, every time your spouse is transferred, you have to reapply for licensing, and you have to sometimes take courses, sometimes pay a fee, and it can be very expensive and frustrating. So what we did was, with the Obama administration, they made a lot of headway, but it still is an issue that isn't really solved for these spouses. And for a lot of them, Vaughn, this is second income for them that they need for any of the extras that they're going to do as a family.
Could I ask you, what role has your son played in the care that you bring to this?
Well, you know, not that much yet. I think it will maybe as time goes on. He and his wife are newly in the Marines, and so I haven't really seen a lot of effects. She's in school, and so I haven't seen her trying to get a job that requires licensing, so that part of it didn't play as much into it. But that did play into the part where I wanted to elevate military spouses, just so people understand. And I would say to them, I don't know if I can get anything done on licensing. I don't know if I'll be able to help that. But what I can do is tell people how proud we are of our military spouses and elevate them as a group. And we got to do that here in Singapore yesterday, and it was amazing. I mean, these people were emotional. They said this has never happened, where someone has come and told us thank you. I mean, my staff who set up the event had to keep telling them, no, don't ask me what Mrs. Pence likes for breakfast. This is about you. What do you want for breakfast? She's coming here to honor you.
In your words, how would you describe your relationship and your role in your family in that with your husband?
I think probably like a lot of spouses. One thing I like to say to the military spouses is you're the backbone of our military. Your tone and your happiness affects the whole family. Someone once told me that the mom is the thermometer of the family. When mom is hot, everybody's hot. When mom is cool, everybody's cool. I don't know if that's necessarily always true, but I do think that we're a pretty good team. Yeah.
I've seen it in action. Could I ask you, what is your relationship with Melania Trump, the First Lady, like?
She's amazing. She's amazing. I don't know how much you got to deal with her, Vaughn, but she's so kind, caring, sincere. She loves this country. Every time I'm with her, she wants to know how I'm doing. She'll bounce ideas off. She'll say, well, that went well, don't you think? Well, how did this play? What do you think about that? And I'm the second lady, and so for her to include me like that means a lot.
2 quick questions for you to wrap it up. One, with President Trump, when he refers to women he's referred to women as crazy or low IQ, one is horse face, does that bother you to any extent?
Well, I think I don't usually get involved in what the president does and what he says. I think, the American people elected him to be their president, and so I stay away. He certainly doesn't need to ask me for my advice. But I do think one thing I do know about the president is that he feels very strongly about the role women can play, especially in politics. You see his daughter very involved. We have 2 daughters that we've raised who are very strong. You know them, Vaughn. They're very strong young women. Our son is very strong and interested in politics and current events, our daughter-in-law. And between the 4 of our kids, they all have different ideas, different causes, different things they care about, and we don't always agree. A lot of times we disagree. And I see the same thing with the president. On the campaign trail, he asked Charlotte to join him for breakfast, and he said, I want to know what you think, Charlotte. What are millennial women thinking? Tell me what you think are things we should include in the campaign. Now, he had never even met her before. So to include a young woman that way, I think says a lot about what he thinks about women.
Finally, you've traveled all over this country, too, state to state from the campaign over the last 2 years. In this midterm, Republicans lost women across the board by about 19 percentage points, their biggest gap to date. What would be your message as somebody who has traveled around to the Republican Party trying to win back women?
I guess it's hard for me to answer that question, Vaughn. My family will tell you I don't like to categorize people by their gender. Like, if you're female, these are things we should talk about. If you're male, these are things we should talk about. And in our own family, I see issues that arise that aren't necessarily male or female. I think one thing I just want to let people know is that this president does care about women. He cares about issues that are dear to them. But, a lot of my friends who are Republican women will say, Republican women care about all of the issues. We're not a 1 or 2 issue group of people. We care about jobs. We care about taxes. We care about health care. We care about all of these things. So I think sometimes it concerns me when we put them in a category, because I think women don't want to be cast just one way. We care about everything. We care about everything going on in the country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vaughn.
I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Enjoy
you for the time.
Singapore.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.